Welcome. I'm glad you're here. For the practice today, you're going to need 2 blocks that you can put right away at the front of your mat. A cushion, which you can be sitting on right now, an extra cushion, and a bolster or big pillow. We'll come into any comfortable seated position, so you can choose the shape that works best for your legs. Take the time to move the flesh of your bum back to come directly on your sits bones so that your pelvis is more upright, more neutral. Hands on the legs, close your eyes. We'll start with a big full inhale, lifting our shoulders up. Exhale to roll them back and down. Twice more. You can inhale through the nose as you lift. Exhale through the mouth to release the shoulders back and down. Last one here. And then give yourself a few moments to settle, grounding your presence back into your body, tapping into the breath. Begin to give your hands a rub, just as a way to create some heat. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And with this, we'll give our neck and shoulders a nice massage, offering a loving touch to your own body, anything that feels good. Both hands can now circle in the chest, inviting vitality back into your heart. And hands traveling to your belly. Give your belly a beautiful rub around. And take some time to really acknowledge the size and the shape of your belly today. Welcome your baby into the practice with you. Bringing your hands in your low back, we're going to go up and down quite vigorously, supporting the kidneys and massaging around the hips, the glutes. Brush along your thighs and give your hands a nice shake a couple times. All right, let's inhale to circle the arms up. Right hand here will grab your left wrist, and we're reaching the arms slightly over to the right. Keep your sits bones heavy, anchoring down. And as your right hand comes down to the floor, maybe you're able to deepen the side stretch a bit more. Bring your left hand behind your head and breathe some space into your whole left side. Coming up through center, both arms up, left hand now to the right wrist. Reaching long over to the left. Left hand releases down, stay or deepen a bit more. Right hand supporting your head. From right hip to right elbow, you're breathing some space. Rising up. As you release your arms, place the fingertips behind you, and on your inhale, lift up through the chest, heart, and gaze. Exhale, little bow in. Even the shoulders can curl in for a moment. And again like this, inhale to open and lift up. Exhale to soften in. Last round, lengthening through the spine, the waist. Here, transfer the hands forward. As we ease into the hips, you might enjoy swaying side to side. Breathing down the back, down into the hips, and rising up. We're going to switch the crossing of the legs between sides. Stretch the legs forward and circle the ankles a couple of times, one way, and reversing the way. And then take your time to fold your legs in again. Remember, you can find any comfortable shape. right on your sits bones. Let's inhale to circle the arms up at the top, interlace the fingers and flip the palms away from you. Gain more length, making space for you and for baby. On the exhale, twist to the right, releasing the hands easily down so there's no pulling or cranking at all. We just want to navigate the wave of our breath between the rising of the inhales and the softening of the exhales. Coming back through center, both arms reaching up, interlace the fingers and flip the palms away, lifting your whole rib cage up, away from baby and away from the pelvis. Twist to the left, easing into this. Find some ease into the back of your lungs. And maybe you're able to rotate your head back a little more if that feels nice. Coming back to center. Fingertips behind you just like we did before. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, soften in. Twice more, pulsing with your breath. And really looking for length as opposed to some back bending. Hands coming forward, easing into the hips. Option to shift a little side to side. Coming up, create some fists and we'll circle the wrists a couple of times one way. And reversing the weight, and even squeeze the fingers gently here. Then we'll open the fingers really wide and squeeze them in, and do that a few times like jazz hands. Shake the hands. All right. Ready to come to tabletop position. Here we're going to use some blocks right under our hands, right under our palms. I'm also going to double up my mat in the center. So I'm adding a little extra padding for the knees. You could, of course, always use a blanket if that feels a little bit nicer. So I'm setting up the blocks directly under my palms so that my shoulders can come right over the wrists and the hips are more or less over the knees. Let your legs go slightly wider than hip distance to make room for baby. We'll circle the shoulders. So with your arms and spine staying fairly long, just move the shoulder blades, move the collarbones freely. And from here, we'll come into some cat-cows. On your inhale, open the chest and gaze forward. Exhale, gently hug baby and round your spine. Twice more like this. Notice the movement happening in your pelvis. You're untucking the pelvis as you open, and you're tucking the pelvis as you round. Following your breath once more. And then you can start to explore any sort of intuitive movement that would bring more ease, more suppleness into your whole spine, but also your rib cage, your shoulders, your hips, your neck even. This will bring us into some full body circles. Let your pelvis and torso circle around a few times. And reverse the direction. Stay with your breath. Tuck all of your toes, sitting back to the heels for a gentle toe stretch. Maybe you want to place your forearms on the blocks, easing into your hands and palms. Perhaps you bow your head down. But maybe some of you will want to increase the opening in the toes by coming to kneeling. Here, feel free to move your wrists around again. Let's focus on a big full inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth. Releasing back to tabletop. Take a moment to unfold the mat if you had that under your knees. Give your toes a little wiggle, move your ankles. And with your legs wider than your hips, let's head into down dog, tucking the toes, guiding the hips back, just enough for you to walk your hands back until your heels arrive on the floor. On your inhale, place your hands on your thighs, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow down any amount. Twice more while keeping a gentle bend in the knees. Exhale to bow. Last round, following your rhythm of breath, making space. Good. Hands will come to your thighs. Give your baby a gentle hug as you roll up to standing. Circle the shoulders to open the chest. We'll transition into a standing position facing the side of your mat. Feet will be shoulder width apart. On your next inhale, circle the arms up. Right hand will grab your left wrist. Lengthen even through the low back and reach the arms to the right. On your inhale, rise up, switch the hands. Exhale to the left. Coming up, hands will come to the hips, opening the legs wide for warrior two. Now you don't have to open super wide. Feel free to bring the feet a little closer together. Left toes will flip open, and on the exhale, bend the left knee towards the center of that foot. We're going to pulse. We'll inhale to lengthen and exhale to bend. Just finding a bit more strength into the legs, adding the arms. On your inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, arms out, warrior two. Inhale again to rise. Exhale to ground down. Last round. From your last warrior two, lean forward either to place your hand or your elbow down to your thigh. We'll inhale to circle the top arm up overhead and exhale down. Twice more, big full circle. Use the strength in both legs to help you safely come up and flip the left toes in. As you bend your knees, let's try to heel toe our way back to the feet, shoulder width apart. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, circle up, left hand to right wrist. Exhale, reach to the left. Inhale, rise, look for length. Exhale, reach to the right. Back to center, hands down to the hips, opening the legs any amount. Right toes flip open. Exhale, bend the leg. Inhale, rise. Feel the groundedness all the way down to the feet, connecting to the floor. Adding our arms out. Inhale, rise and lift. Exhale, warrior two. Following your breath. Taking all of the space around you. Last round here, we'll lean forward for the hand or the elbow to come down. Inhale, circle the top arm all the way overhead. Exhale, releasing easily. Twice more. Meanwhile, both heels are anchoring down. Use both legs to come up. Flip the toes in. Bend the knees and heels and toes and heels and toes with your feet back to shoulder width apart. Returning to the front of the mat, gather your two blocks at the highest level, right on both sides of your mat at the front. Feet will go once again shoulder width apart. Keeping your hips right over your ankles, place the palms on the back of the pelvis. Engage the shoulders. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, soften in, almost like a standing version of what we did seated earlier. Make sure you're not pushing your hips forward. Your pelvis stays right over your ankles. One last time. And release. Hands to the hips. Take your right foot a few steps back to come to standing lunge. The back knee will stay bent. We want to be quite vertical in our upper body. Inhale to lengthen the legs. Exhale, bend the knees any amount. Twice more. Here we're really trying to lengthen the front of our right hip and thigh. Next time you're lowering the legs, release your arms, and just the arms on the inhale will sweep up. Exhale to release them down. Twice more, legs stay strong. Last one. And once the arms are down, lean forward to take your back foot a few steps forward. To come up, same thing on the other side. Stay vertical. On your inhale, lengthen through the legs. Exhale, bend the knees any amount. Keep your left glutes engaged. Last one, shoulders are easy. And then we go with the arms. Inhale, sweep them up. Exhale, release. Twice more. Last round. And lean forward to take your back foot forward easily. Feet go now as wide as your mat, a little bit behind the blocks. Hands at the heart, checking in with your heart, with your baby. On your inhale, circle up. Exhale, forward fold. The blocks will be right there for you. So place them directly under your shoulders. And on your inhale, lengthen the spine, open the chest. Exhale, bend the knees, bow in ever so slightly. Twice more. Last round here. Once you bend the knees now, place the blocks, stacking the blocks one on top of the other. With the long spine, we'll inhale to open the right arm up. Exhale back to center, switching sides. This is one of the spinning babies' daily essentials, windmill. Depending on how things feel, you can keep this height of the blocks, or maybe you bring the blocks directly under both hands. Try to keep the lifted hand in your peripheral vision. Okay, pull your hips back, bend the knees deeply. Inhale, lift the hips up, forward fold. Twice more. We're really trying to open up the bottom of the pelvis here. Next time you pull your hips back, bring the blocks in towards you, and then take your right foot all the way back. Lengthen the back leg, lengthen the spine, and then bring the back knee down. I'm going to double up the mat under the knee for extra cushioning. Coming up with the torso, shift everything, including your pelvis, over your back knee, and the right arm on the inhale will sweep up. Exhale will release down. Twice more. Again, making space and length at the front of your right hip and thigh. Once the arm comes down, we're going to bring the hands back to the blocks and open the lunge by rotating your right foot towards the left side edge of your mat. Walk your blocks towards the right diagonal, and then start to play with some intuitive movement in your hips. It could be a bit of shifting side to side, circling around. Choose to keep your blocks at any level, or maybe place your hands down. Coming up, we're shifting pelvis and torso over the back knee, and then we start to go side to side. So we're going towards the direction of the front toes and back over the back knee. Last one here. Find your blocks again. Bring everything back to center. Blocks, bottom leg. Tuck your back toes. Exhale, lift your back knee off the floor and take your back foot forward. Switching sides, left foot steps back. Lengthen through the back leg. Lengthen your spine. Open your chest. Exhale, back knee comes down. Bring more padding to your knee if need be. Coming up, shift your pelvis and torso over the back knee. Left arm on the inhale sweeps up. Exhale, release. Twice more. Nice and easy. Last one. And then we open the lunge with your blocks under your shoulders. Rotate your bottom leg to the right. Walk your blocks towards the left diagonal and start to shift. This is really a playful approach, but very mindful approach as well. Coming up, start by shifting your pelvis and torso over the back knee to sit up nice and tall. And then we go towards the front toes and back over the back knee, opening up the mid-level of the pelvis. Last round. Find your blocks, bring everything back to center. Take your front knee back, and we'll head into child's pose. Big toes together, knees will open as wide as needed to make room for baby. Here's my favorite supported variation of child's pose. I'm placing the blocks a little bit apart on the floor. Then the bolster will come right on those blocks. Leave enough space for your belly between the bolster and your pelvis. And then a little cushion can be placed between your bum and your heels. On your way towards child's pose, play with a little bit of shifting of the hips side to side, or kind of like a kneeling version of cat-cows. Bringing suppleness into the hip creases and coming down with the chest, head on the bolster. The arms can wrap into that space between the blocks. Let everything soften and melt. Guiding your breath down into the pelvic floor, the very bottom of the pelvis. Every inhale, the pelvic floor naturally expands. Every exhale, there's a softening, a recoiling in. If this feels great, please stay there. But if you want to come to downward facing dog, here's your chance to spend a few more rounds of breath there. For down dog in the pregnancy, let your feet go wider than the hips. And you can enjoy a bit of pedaling through the legs, getting into your calves, shifting the hips. Keeping the neck easy, trying to breathe into your belly as best you can. Release your knees down, and let's come and meet into a cross-legged position. I'm going to gather all of my props. I'm sitting on a cushion to once again make sure I come right on the sits bones. You also want to have maybe the bolster and the blocks close by. Here we're going to be getting into the outer sides of our thighs and hips. So a couple things here to consider. First of all, when we cross our legs, usually our knees are wider than the ankles. The ankles are much closer together. So the first option to deepen a bit more without having to fold forward too much is to open up the space between your ankles, to flex your ankles quite strongly. Second option, for those of you more open, you could elevate under the front shin bone to bring the whole leg and thigh up without having to fold forward. But for me, that's a little bit too much, so I prefer to come to the first variation. Arms will go straight out. Soften the neck and chest. And then cross your left arm over your right, giving yourself a big hug. You can stay right here, or maybe you go into eagle arms, wrapping the hands around. Here it's a process of diving back inward. And as you find breath, maybe your body is craving a little shift around. Perhaps coming from your head, your spine, and release. Hinging at the hips to lean forward. Here, I encourage you to create some sort of support. The bolster can be quite nice right under your forehead. But maybe you use some blocks if there's a little bit more room available for you. Forearms can rest. We're looking into bringing more and more ease. And your body often when meeting tension or resistance, can really benefit from a bit of shifting around. Sometimes it's nice to massage our jaw to keep that easy. Every inhale, you make space. Every exhale, you let go. Coming up, before we switch to the other side, stretch your legs out in a V shape, circling the ankles a couple of times one way and reversing the way. Then the other leg will come at the front, and again I'm opening up the space between my ankles, so ankles moving further apart, flexing the ankles, coming right on the sits bones. Open the arms out, grow tall, but soften the neck and the chest. Right arm goes on top, hugging arms or eagle arms. Shoulders melting away from the ears. Let your body guide you. Releasing the arms, hinge at the hips to come forward any amount, and trust that gentle can actually be much deeper in a way. Notice every little shift. For me on this side, my body needed to lean over to the side as a way to unravel. Easy jaw. Every inhale, I make space. Every exhale, I surrender. I let go. Breathing with baby. And coming up. Again, take some time to open the legs out in a V shape. This time you can stay right upright, or maybe you have a bit of room to lean forward. Lengthening the inner lines of your legs. And coming up. Time for Shavasana. We're going to come into a side lying position. Such a wonderful way to finish the practice during pregnancy. I'm going to come onto my left side, but if you're only going to be there for about 5-7 minutes, you can choose the side that feels the most comfortable for you in this moment. 1 or 2 cushions under my head, and then the bolster as well as 1 block. Coming onto your side, you can either fold both legs in and bring the bolster between your ankles and your knees so that the legs are sort of stacked. Sometimes that feels best, and sometimes it's a bit nicer to bring the top leg forward with the bolster supporting once again under the ankle and the knee. The belly becomes like a hammock for baby, another spinning babies principle. And my arm is resting on the block. Close your eyes. Enjoy the rest here for as long as you can. Connect with baby. Maybe you want to share something with baby right now. And bow to yourself for carving some time for you today. Enjoy. Namaste.